Today on Drawbli, we are drawing
mushrooms.
You can join us by sharing your art online using the hashtag Drawbli and click the subscribe button to be notified of future videos. Abby, what kind of mushrooms are you drawing there?
I have no idea.
Ooh.
Have you ever wanted to get really acquainted with all the different kinds of mushrooms that
Never.
exist out there?
Nope.
I never really have had that inclination. I know about morels, but I don't know about other mushrooms.
I completely forgot about morels.
But wouldn't it be fun to learn about all the different mushrooms?
Yeah, totally.
And get to know them.
Super fun.
I guess I know about puffball mushrooms too.
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah.
Those are fun.
I don't know if that's I don't think that's a technical mushroom term.
It's what you call them when you're a kid and you're like, oh, I'm going to step on this puffball mushroom and it's going to puff and it's going to be amazing.
I don't remember them actually puffing that much, but anyway, to go back to the morels, that's a big family thing that your family does. They go hunting the morel mushrooms.
Yeah, specifically my dad, because he's from Illinois.
And we know it's not a Drawbli episode unless we talk about Abby's dad.
Yeah, he more so brought that tradition in of hunting for morel mushrooms.
And what exactly are morel mushrooms for those at home that don't know?
They are an edible mushroom variety that grows in the specific little pockets and seasons in the Midwest.
Highly sought after mushrooms.
Yeah, I think they can get sort of valuable anyway.
They're pretty expensive for a little batch of mushroomies, yeah.
Yeah, people
not really
covet their known growing places where people are like, oh, I know they're going to come back there this year.
Yeah, people will literally go sneak into other people's property and try to get their mushrooms.
Yeah.
No joke.
Oh, yeah. People get kind of sensitive about this kind of thing. But
you dare take my mushrooms?
My grandma lives way out in the middle of nowhere in Illinois. So there's a lot of good spots out there, but not too many people coming in so people don't get too sensitive out there.
Yeah. So have you gone morel hunting before?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you have?
Uh-huh. Many times as a child, less often as an adult, but still I've done it.
And I feel like it's a lot of looking, or I don't know. In my head, I'm that sounds like it would take a really long time and be super boring.
It's not really, well, gotta remember you're tramping through the woods, which is always a good time.
Okay.
You're seeing all kinds of different fungi, and you're generally with a little crowd of people.
If you're with me, you're always seeing a fungi.
Yeah. And then it becomes kind of like a contest to see who can find the biggest ones.
Okay, now you're speaking my language, the language of competition.
Yes. So that's really fun. I like that aspect of it. Other than that, though, it's kind of about learning what sort of habitat the mushrooms enjoy. My brother and I, for example, my little brother, we went up in this little bluff area up into these kind of low slung hills.
Yeah, is that the secret spot?
No, it's where you can get little not very healthy ones that are little and look kind of fried by the time they've even reached maturity. But then you go down into these little gullies where there's a little water source nearby, and boom, you're starting to get these 7-inch monsters that are down there.
So for people that do not know, these mushrooms only grow for I'm not even kidding, 2 weeks throughout the entire year.
It does seem pretty short. You can find them in our area too, in Kentucky.
It is not a long time. It
Ohio,
is
but not. I feel
and
like
that is why they're pretty pricey. If you want to get I think 16 ounces a pound, to use our measurements, would be I think your dad said it was $40, $40 hairs. That's quite a lot.
Mm-hmm. We've never tried to sell them or anything, personally.
Well, right, you guys covet them too much.
Yeah, we just fry them up and eat them. I've never had them any way other than fried.
I've never had them at all.
I know. The last time my dad went, he was he was texting me, and he's like, I have some extra mushrooms. Does Ben want to try them? And
you said no?
I'm pretty sure at the time. Well, we weren't going to be able to get up there in time.
All right, I see how it is.
But this year,
you actually did say yes, and you took them for yourself.
This is not true. But they are delicious little guys.
Delicious little guys.
They taste.
It's a great way to describe a mushroom.
Much like you would imagine a mushroom to taste.
I like mushrooms, but I couldn't imagine
Just eating a mushroom for the sake of eating a mushroom.
By itself, kind of.
Yeah.
A little odd. But yeah, that's about the extent of what we've prepared in terms of mushroom conversation. And by prepared, I mean I actually totally forgot about morel mushrooms until we hit record here.
Well, I mean, that's not the only mushrooms we've seen lately.
What?
We went to the Ren Fair.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the people. There were a bunch of people dressed as like mushroom characters.
Yes, it's the
only way I can describe
cutest
it.
trend I've ever seen. Everybody's cosplaying as little mushroom people. Well, I should say I've mostly seen girls do it because for whatever reason, it just gives you full license to go on with this cute,
A really cool dress.
nature regalia.
Yeah.
And it's so like varied and creative. Most people are doing like little red cap mushrooms with the red hat and the white polka dots on it.
I've seen a lot of different ones, like all white, kind of almost like a wedding gown-esque mushroom regalia, as you said. Love that word, by the way. Nice word.
Oh, well, thank you. But yeah, I like that a lot. It makes me wish I could like sew and do cosplay and stuff. I never have done cosplay at all. I really feel like it would be right up my alley though.
Why is that?
It just seems like something I would like. I always like dressing up for Halloween, like with a passion and creating costumes. No,
Yes,
I think I'd really like
you
it.
guys went ham on Halloween, as we've already talked about in our Halloween spooktacular.
Yeah, it's a good time. Have you ever wanted to cosplay or cosplayed as anything?
I think it would be fun. I've never like really sought it out personally.
Maybe
but
we'll have to go to a big convention later this year and report back on what we think of the whole shebang.
shebang. Well, you are potentially going to a big convention, right?
Oh, yeah, with our friend who got the hotel room and all the good fixins for it.
All the good, yeah.
I know. She had to like wait online for this very specific tiny window frame to even get the chance of the privilege of reserving a room.
Is it Colossal Con?
Yeah,
right?
yeah, up in I guess it's Northern Ohio. And I am very excited. She was so kind enough to say like, I'm giving our little friend group first dibs on saying if they want to join me in this room, and I am all about it. I am definitely going.
Okay. Well, I am a solid maybe.
I know.
We'll see.
I don't know. Yeah, I feel like honestly you might go either way. We might get to that date and you'll be like, I gotta go. That sounds like such a freaking good time. Or we're gonna get up there and you'll be like, yeah, y'all enjoy. We'll see. I don't know.
So, I didn't get to ask you, but what is your intention, your goal with these mushrooms, drawing them? Do you have a specific goal or idea?
No, I think I'm just playing around a little bit. I'm way zoomed out right now, so I'm just putting in their little background color.
Gotcha.
I did recently in my own like physical sketchbook, I did do a copy of all of Loesch's mushrooms recently.
Of course.
And I really enjoyed that just with like some pen and ink. And it's so interesting to me how she adds flow of form to literally every minute line imaginable.
It's a stylized shape, so not necessarily flow of form.
Yeah,
but,
well,
you know, she has maybe a more flowy style, you could say. But yeah.
I love it though.
Absolutely.
I absolutely love it. So it'd be really cool to be able to
I
do
am
that.
specifically going to try to get some nice values in here for mine. That's what I would like to try, which is why I got some rather boring mushrooms, not super colorful. Yeah, that's what I would like to try because values are so difficult for me, and I mean, a lot of drawing is really difficult for
Values
us.
are hard. I think what's hard is I like to use this little reference window thing, but you can't color sample from it.
Sure can't.
I know, and I'm like, wait
no.
a second. I would sure like to be able to do that. It's okay that I can't, but also I'd like to be able to. I'm all about knowing the easy ways to do everything. I don't need to be true to any one form. If I was a true purist, I guess I'd have a lot of irrational ideas about not using an iPad at all. I don't know.
Ooh. Well, we don't need to get into that.
No.
We're not purists. We're
Not
all
at
about
all.
the digital life. I'm here.
All about it.
I'm
here
here
to use
for it.
every possible tool and trick in the book that I possibly can. I don't know many of them. Well, I know a few, but it's hard to.
You know a few of the tricks in the book?
I know about. Somebody told me about clipping masks. I got
Oh.
wind of those.
Yeah, I mean, digital art's the way to go, in my opinion. Like, use the best tool at your disposal. But yeah, I need to get in here and actually start getting some values in. I'm just fixing some of my mushroom shapes. Mushrooms are so fun to draw. I'm surprised like that I've never really drawn mushrooms before. I mean, I don't really draw a lot other than recently, so it makes sense. But yeah, mushrooms are so cool. They're so fun. There was that show on Netflix. I can't remember exactly what it was called, but it was all about different fungi and like how they work and how different they are from every other kind of organism.
Oh yeah, that sounds cool. I think I did not watch that. I think you watched that, but it sounds amazing.
I just kind of had it on in the background, and yeah, it was really, really interesting.
I would
Not
like
something.
to check that out.
Yeah, I don't know. Like every time I watch one of those types of shows, like they're so cool and interesting, but I don't watch them very often. They're also great background shows. Kind of like Drawbli, you know?
Oh yeah, just something to have on while you're doing your own work. I'm adding a little frame to my mushrooms.
Wow.
I don't know if that will make it cuter or not. But
Yes, it will.
We're going for
Definitely.
it. Maybe I should erase
100% cuter.
into it. Yeah, you think? We'll see. We'll see.
Well, I'm now going to do the thing that I set out to do. I didn't do all the mushrooms. I just did a selection of shrooms. Now time to get in here and attempt some values. What's up?
I'm just adding some
Or
yellow.
I'm sorry, are you talking to yourself?
I was.
Okay,
But I'm
yeah.
listening to you too.
Yeah.
I'm like the average viewer, just kind of like listening, but also like totally engaged in my own thing.
Wow. Giving me a lot to play on.
But you're adding values.
Yeah, I'm adding values, Abby. What are you doing? Why don't you tell us what you're doing since you're so cool?
No, I
and
think you're gonna
important,
talk
you know?
over me if I do.
No. I would never. I would never talk over you, my dearest Abigail.
I'm gonna see if I can figure
That's nice.
out...
Well, I'm almost getting some. Oh, looking at this, I might have screwed it up. I
I'm
screwed
sure
that
you
part
did
up.
no such thing.
Yeah, I didn't give this enough of a lip. That's okay. I'll figure that out later. Sorry, what were you saying? You were saying something real important, I'm sure.
I was adding some lines to my
That's nice. Well, I'm getting
mushrooms.
some. No, you're adding some lines.
Yeah.
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 Tell me what are you doing with your lines? Let me
I'm
see.
seeing if I can
Oh,
add
some
like
texture?
the fronds of the mushrooms, whatever you might call those little rivulets that they have.
Yeah, not
fronds.
Not fronds,
I
but
don't know. I feel like I'm pretty sure there's a specific name for these on mushrooms.
ribs, the ribbing.
It's the folds. I don't know. I feel like it's whatever they probably call
fold.
them when it's talking about the brain. And there is a specific name for the folds of the brain, but I don't remember what they
Wrinkles.
are. I wonder if they serve the same purpose as the folds of the brain, which is to increase surface area.
If I had to guess, I would say probably. That sounds correct. But honestly, I don't know how mushrooms do, so I couldn't tell you. But, we probably have a mushroom expert somewhere below in the comments telling us exactly what those folds are for.
Thank goodness.
Thankfully. Because I'm just here to attempt to draw and get better at that. But if I learn about mushrooms along the way,
Then all the better.
yeah, I'm for it. Let's go. Get that mushroom knowledge. Because
Absolutely.
everybody knows I'm not going to Google later and find out how mushrooms work.
No. Same. I wonder if I should have used a brush with a little bit more
Texture.
width and taper. I tried to combine those
Width.
with widness.
Wouldn't
Just to get these lines looking a little better. Right now they look like kind of scribbled on round brush lines. Maybe I just need to...
I mean, that's probably what they are, right?
Well, yes, but I want them to look better. How do I do that? Maybe I just go in and like individually widen each one out. Sometimes I can't tell looking at a piece of art if some of it was just like, oh, the artist can do this amazing thing because they're really quick at creating this really nice flowy form and image.
Yeah.
Or if it's a combination of that or them just having the patience to go through and minutely edit hundreds of different tiny little portions of their picture.
It is more so that, most of the time, taken from someone that does often or has often gone in and done the tiny little minutia. But in all honesty, as someone that has done that a number of times, I will also say that most people do not see the tiny little minutia. Most of the time that is completely overlooked.
Do you think it adds, though? I feel like it adds to the vibe of a picture where you're like, I'm not noticing that individually, but I'm definitely picking up on the increased quality of this particular piece of art.
Yes and no. In some ways, yes. If you take so there are what are called different reads of artworks. So you have an initial read that is kind of like, you think of like someone put an image in front of you and had you close your eyes, and then you opened, like you did like a reverse blink, like open close. That's kind of like a first read, maybe like a 3-second look is what you might call it. And in that first read, that is like kind of the most important stuff that you pick up on. From there, you have like a little bit of a a second read, longer look, whatever you want to call it. And that is when you might pick up on some of that little stuff here and there, but for the most part still no. And then of course, like on a more detailed look, something that you might consider like studying this person's artwork, that would be where you start getting into that.
I love when I sit down to copy somebody's work, and that's when you really, really notice all the tiny
you start
details
to
they put in.
appreciate things a little more. You notice most things that you probably would never have seen without taking the time to do that. But in truth, like, most people are not doing that. So is it worth that or not? And that's actually a really deep, big question that we could probably dive into for a very long time. And I'd be happy to do so. It's something that I actually not necessarily flip-flop on a lot, but it's something that I constantly like change my mentality on. Like, is it worth doing this? Is it not worth doing this? Etc.
That must be a hard thing to distinguish in the end, is where do I draw the line? How do I know when it's time to stop?
Exactly. You as
adding
the
cute
artist.
details.
Yeah, that's why the common phrase is artwork is never finished, only abandoned. And it's absolutely true. You have to find that point for yourself where you call something finished. Because you can always make something better, right? You can always continue to sit there and improve it. It's never going to be absolutely perfect. But eventually you do have to, call it done. And in some ways, that's why it's really nice to have like a production art job. Because you have that person there that says, hey, you're done working on that now. We need to send that to the client. But when it's, maybe just you and you're working on,
just your personal pieces.
Yeah, it's totally up to you. And that can be a very hard thing for a lot of new people, even experienced people. Like I said, it's something that I am constantly, stretching on, trying to figure out where my boundary is for that. Like, is it worth me spending 30 minutes cleaning something up in this artwork that, no one is going to take that detailed of a glance at? Or should I just say, good enough and move on? It's like, yeah, definitely something that you could argue both sides of, I think, very well.
Yeah.
I definitely could.
Well, at this point, I would say, for us as kind of beginners here, we've probably reached near the zenith of what we stand to gain from working on these lovely little mushrooms in terms of knowledge and improvement. Unless you feel otherwise. I haven't really looked over at yours, so you might say, oh no, I'm just touching the tip of the iceberg on what I think I can do here.
I mean, mine's very simplistic. I would like to do some finishing touches by just finishing this last little blending pass that I'm doing. And then I'm going to play with the colors very briefly, which won't take me long at all.
No,
I'm kind of an expert at drawing now, so
oh yeah, are
I'm
you?
kind of stupid fast in this stuff.
I can see that. I can definitely see that.
Tell me about what you're working on right now. You feel like you're done? already? You feel like your masterpiece is complete?
Oh my gosh, no. I feel like there's a lot more I could do working on this with more like time on it. But I really like what we do here in terms of just quick little studies, moving on to the next thing. So as much as I value that, I think starting to put some quote unquote finishing touches on here is a great idea.
Do you have something that you're doing in terms of finishing touches?
I'm adding some deeper values to the stems of my mushrooms, just to kind of make them more distinct from the cap of the mushroom and to set them apart a little bit. Just some sketchiness. I'm keeping this one very kind of painterly and sketchy, which I like. Very painterly, I don't know about that, but trying to keep it with a more of like a brushwork feel, not so much about little details or getting everything photorealistic.
Photo-y.
I don't know.
All about the photo-y.
Yeah. Just putting down the ideas of what I've got in front of me.
Yeah, mine is definitely not photorealistic by any means. Very rarely could I probably say that. There's actually a lot of talk about, like, is it, should you be aiming for photorealism initially? Or should you, like, be leaning more into whatever you want? Like, do you need to essentially learn, anatomical realism or realism before leaning into any form of stylization?
Oh yeah, that's something we've talked about a lot.
Yeah, I don't know if we've ever talked about it here on the Drawbli, though. Definitely something we can talk about more in the future. You know my stance on that.
I absolutely do.
And maybe that's something we can talk about more in the future, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, well, I'm pretty much done here. I'm, relatively, let's say, happy with mushroomies. Not extremely complex by any stretch of the imagination, but hey, a nice little doodle.
That means we get to go ahead and do my favorite part, which is where we tell each other how good we are at drawing.
Yes. We gotta, well, you tell me how good I am, right? And then I just criticize your art.
Oh, yes,
Isn't that?
relentlessly.
Yeah, just bash it into the ground.
Okay, Ben.
Yes?
I am ready.
All right. Here are my mushrooms that I drew.
Oh, that is a lie.
All right, yeah. Here are my mushrooms that I drew.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
This was a good practice in shapes, a good practice in values.
Wow.
I like how you've got the distinctly set apart values here.
Yeah.
Yeah, good start.
Oh, good start.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I like.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Yours are very fun. I think that in terms of values, you do have some good stuff going on here, but I do think that there's a lot of similarities between there's not a wide value range, let's say.
Yeah.
However, your piece is a lot more fun and a lot more visually interesting, and you've put in a lot of really cool, fun textures, like, not to mention, like, the stripes, the striations that you put in here, the lines there, but, like, just the random shapes down here, like this guy, what's going on there?
That
What's
was
his
actually
story?
in the photo, like these little yellow
really?
spots.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I added them, and boy, do they add some interest.
And boy howdy. Yeah, very fun, very cool. I like it. Mine is so boring compared to yours. Gosh.
Well,
I'm just the most boring.
no, but you're the most technically correct.
Well, this is not technically anything. Look at yours. Look how fun yours is.
Oh my gosh, stop.
We're going to frame that and put that on our fridge.
No, please don't.
Thanks for watching, everybody. You can join us by sharing your
Mushrooms.
online using the hashtag Drawbli. And, of course, click the subscribe button to be notified of
Future videos.
And this is the part where we say
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Do you like mushrooms on pizza?
I love mushrooms on pizza.
I am also a big fan, but we never get mushrooms on our pizza.
What are we doing? Wow, this is exactly like that Pina Colada song.
If you like mushrooms on pizza.